Hello, this is Flafla from the Adventures of Shatterpoint 3 and Flafla the Rock Pegasus. In this episode, we go back in time when Shatterpoint 3 and Flafla were in school and learn how about a party can put on our dear Flare. Let us begin. It all began after the first year of high school. Flafla had a rough time fitting in and being loved by her fellow classmates and the ones that she would call friends. She would always come home and do her homework, then watch TV, eat dinner, then watch TV again, and then fall asleep, and then repeat the cycle again and again and again and again. Her parents were worried about her behavior that their daughter had been putting on. One night, Flafla was watching TV and taking a sip of her water. It was the same old night cycles that she had been repeating for the past 3 weeks. Her mother walked into her room and asked with a concerned look, "Flafla, you alright?" "Yeah, I guess so," Flafla said, taking another sip of her water. "You've been acting weird for a while, and now your father and I are concerned something might be wrong with you, and to let you know that if there's something wrong, you can come tell us and we'll listen to you and help you if something is up," her mother said. "Nothing is wrong. Just sitting here watching TV until I pass out," Flafla said. "But you've been acting like this for a while now," Mrs. Flare said. "Yeah? So?" Flafla said, looking at her mother with one of those looks. "So? You've been doing excellent in school, but at home, you're a couch potato. You don't hang out with Shatterpoint anymore. Why is that, Flafla?" her mother asked. "I'm not a couch potato! Shadow's just been busy with school," Flafla said. "Look, Flafla, no need to raise your voice. It was just a question. And I think you and Shatterpoint should go out and party and have a good time, 'cause you need it right now," her mother said. Flafla sighed and said, "Fine, but I'm telling you, Mom, it's going to suck badly." In school the next day, Flafla walked into class and sat next to Shatterpoint 3 with a hoof on her cheek and a sigh with a glum look on her face. Shatterpoint 3 looked at Flafla and said, "Flafla, you look bad. What's been up with you lately?" "Life, that's what," Flafla said. "Not true. Tell me," Shatterpoint 3 said. "No," Flafla said. "Yes," Shatterpoint 3 said. "No." "Yes. Excuse me, you two. Is there something you want to add to the lesson?" the teacher asked. "Yeah, this lesson is awesome," Flafla said sarcastically. "Flafla, you and Shatterpoint 3 are my star students, but I have never seen you two disturb my class. I'll let this go, but please don't burst out again. Please," the teacher said. Later at lunch, Flafla was sitting alone eating as soon Shatterpoint 3 and a few friends sat down. Flafla looked at Shadow as Shadow gave Flafla a smile and said, "You okay?" "Yeah, sure," Flafla said. "Wow, what attitude do you have?" Soul Pony said. "Shut up," Flafla said. "Hey, Watch it, Flare, darling. You've been putting on a fake smile for the past 3 weeks, and now I have an idea to cheer you up, Shatterpoint 3 said with a straight face. Oh? What? Flare said, taking a sip of her soda. You come with me and my friends and some other ponies to a party, and we have a good time, Shatterpoint 3 said. Not available, Flare said. You're full of it, Flare. Just please, this one time, come out of that house of yours and enjoy yourself, Shatterpoint 3 said. Fine, but if I don't like it within the first 10 minutes, then I'm leaving and I'm going home and sleep, Flare said. Deal. See you there, Shatterpoint 3 said as she got up with her friends and left the table. 10 bits she won't come, Soul Pony said to Shatterpoint 3. You're on, Soul, Shatterpoint 3 said as she gave him a bro hoof. Fla sat at the table and sighed as she finished her lunch and threw her tray away and walked to her next class. The rest of the day went normal. Fla went home and started on her homework as her mother went into her room and said, Hey, Fla. Yes, Mother, Fla said. You going to that party tonight? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. Well, if you do, just check in with me if you do, her mother said. Okay, Fla said, sighing as her mother left and went downstairs. Fla finished her homework and rubbed her eyes with her hooves as she looked at a picture of her and Shatterpoint 3 inside. She was having second thoughts of going to the party. She was thinking of something might happen, she might regret it. She sat in her room and thought for a couple hours. Soon she took an exhale and said, Buck it, I'm going. Fla got out of her bed and went downstairs and said to her mother, Mom, I'm going to the party. Okay, have fun, Fla, her mother said. Fla walked to Shatterpoint's house and walked up to the door and knocked her hoof on it. Shatterpoint 3 opened the door and said with a smile, Oh, Fla, you made it, please, come in. Fla walked inside and there was music playing and a lot of ponies rocking to the music that was playing. Fla sat at a table where Shatterpoint's friends were sitting as she sat down with Shatterpoint 3, and Soul Pony broke the ice by saying, Shatterpoint, I owe you 10 bits. I don't believe she actually made it to the party. I was having second thoughts, so don't get too comfortable. I only came because I don't want to make Shatterpoint upset, Fla said, sitting back in her chair. You'll have fun here. Have a drink, Fla, Shatterpoint 3 said, putting a drink on the table and sliding it to her. Fla took a look and said, Shatterpoint, you know I don't drink this stuff. Oh, come on, Fla, just one sip. That won't kill you, Soul Pony said. Fine, Fla said, taking a sip of the drink and putting it back down on the table and staring at it. Well, you okay? Shatterpoint 3 asked. Fla took the drink and chugged it. Shatterpoint 3 and Soul Pony's jaws dropped as Fla finished the drink and put it on the table and said, Let's party. Shatterpoint 3 and Soul Pony smiled at each other and winked. The rest of the night was non-stop partying and drinking. At the end of the night, Fla had 4 drinks and had been partying hard with Shatterpoint 3 and Soul Pony. At the end of the night, Shatterpoint 3 was carrying Fla on her back on their way to Fla's house. When they got to Fla's house, they walked in the front door, which was unlocked, and Shatterpoint 3 carried her inside as Soul Pony left and went back to his house. Shatterpoint 3 put Fla in bed and got in bed with her and fell asleep. The next morning, Shatterpoint 3 woke up and Fla was groaning as she continued to sleep. Shatterpoint put her hoof on Fla's head. It was burning hot, and Shatterpoint 3 woke up Fla and said, Fla, your head is burning red. Let me get your thermometer. Shatterpoint ran into the bathroom and grabbed the thermometer and ran back into the room, put the thermometer into Fla's mouth, and took it out. Moments later, it read 102 degrees Fahrenheit. Shatterpoint 3 gasped, and Fla looked at her and said, What is it, Shadow? You have a 102 fever, Fla. Crap. You're going to have to stay home today, darling. I feel fine, Shadow. I think I can come to school today. Oh, no, you're not. You need rest. I'll come check on you during lunch and see how you're feeling. Love you. Shatterpone 3 said, kissing Flyflower's cheek and leaving the house. Flyflower laid back in bed as she opened a drink and took a sip as she turned on the TV. Her mother walked in the room as Flyflower hid the drink under her bed and laid back. Her mother gave her a stare, and Flyflower looked back at her mother as her mother said, Flyflower, what are you still doing in bed? Fever? Liar. Come on, go to school. Her mother said, Mom, Shatterpone was here and she took my temperature. It read 102, so you can talk it up with her. Flyflower said, I plan on doing that. Sorry for being like this, but now that I hear that you're sick, I must take care of my child. Now please rest, my sweet flower, her mother said, leaving her room. Flyflower sat back and took another sip of her drink. She looked at a picture of her and a good friend, Pokey Pony, and sighed and wished she was at school with her and not home sick. Moments later, Pokey Pony walked inside and up the stairs to Flyflower's room and ran and pounced into the air onto her and said with widened eyes, School! There, you not! Yeah? So? Home! Why are you here? Pokey Pony said, I'm sick, Pokey. Amused, I am not. I have a 102 fever, Pokey. Please do not do that routine of how I should come to school. Flyflower said, Come to school, you will, Flowery. No, Pokey, I can't. Please go back to class. Flyflower said, I got up early and told the teacher I needed to see someone. Pokey Pony said, You're full of it, Pokey. Shatterpone 3 must have told you I was sick, so you skipped your class to just drag my butt back into school when you should realize I need to stay hydrated and rest because I'm sicker than ever right now. Flyflower said, Fine. Jerk. Pokey Pony said, jumping off the bed and leaving her house. Flyflower sighed again and took her drink out from under her bed and took a sip of it as she continued to watch TV. A few hours passed and Shatterpone 3 was sitting in her chair across from Flyflower's bed as Flyflower woke up and groaned as Shatterpone 3 looked at Flyflower and said, Oh, you're awake. Good afternoon. When did you get here? Flyflower said. A couple hours ago. Oh, and you shouldn't have drinks out, and I think it's time for you to learn a lesson from me before things get worse. Shatterpone 3 said. Oh? What is that? Flyflower said. That partying hard can come to obsession to alcoholic beverages. But I'm going to save you the trouble and tell you this, my dear Flyflower, is that you need to stop drinking now and start focusing on drinking healthily with soda and water and other drinks. And also, your teacher said that you're excused from all the assignments you have missed. Shatterpone 3 said. Oh. Okay. I'm sorry, I haven't had that much fun for a while now, Flyflower said, sighing. I know you haven't had fun in a while, but this is a sick day that you'll learn from, and this will teach you better than come over and party hard again, Shatterpone 3 said, giving Flyflower a little smile. Thanks, Shadow. You're such a great friend to me, Flyflower said, giving Shatterpone a smile back. Shatterpone 3 walked to the side of the bed and gave Flyflower a hug. Flyflower hugged back as they smiled and cuddled in bed for the rest of the day. To be continued with the next episode, and to let you all know that this is all fan stuff. And we don't know when episode 11 will come out. We're trying to get on the schedule where we can have every Sunday, but that's going to be kind of hard. But we'll work it out. So thank you for listening to this episode of The Adventures of Shatterpone 3 and Flyflower. Please have a great day and have a great weekend. This is Jeffrey Polloway, voice of Flyflower, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.